For all my people that are holding XRP, you will definitely find this video interesting. And no, I'm not simply talking about XRP getting listed on new platforms or things of that sort. That's kind of boring, you know? We like some heated debates. And right now, the co-founder of Cardano, whom I just met in Abu Dhabi, he's gone for a little battle over on Twitter with regards to XRP. And he previously, not too long ago, exposed the SEC for a lot of their secrets. But right now, this discussion really made me think about a lot. And hopefully, it'll make you guys reconsider some things as well. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll explain it further as we come along. I just want to know from you guys, which one of you is holding more than 3 different altcoins? Let me know down below if you are. I will check every single comment just to kind of gauge what you guys are like. It all started out with the infamous Cardano co-founder Charles Hoskinson video where he went off on the SEC for the most part because they're quite hypocritical. Because the Howey test doesn't really make sense because simply people are also buying Bitcoin. Theoretically for the same reasons as people are buying Cardano, so why is one so much better than the other? And he's partially talking about how this government overreach has to stop, but we all watched this video together yesterday, so I'd say let us move on to the layers that were built on top. So Mr. 𝗕𝗂𝘀 said, "I'm sorry, Charles, but for 2 years, you did everything you could to make the XRP community look ridiculous and embarrass us in public. I know you offered peace, all right? Because XRP's lawsuit, it turned back around. The community was hating on him severely, but at the end of the day, he didn't want that beef. But only to come out of nowhere and call us crazy conspiracy theorists again. No, look at you. It's funny what can happen in a year, isn't it? Let's watch this video. It's about 40 seconds long. And if you haven't yet, make sure you go ahead and press that like button. You've got nothing to lose, baby. And I want to get to 650 today. Let's try and get that. So make sure you press that like button. Let's see how many we can get.
I kind of was a little disappointed with David Schwartz and others saying a lot could be said and, well, I'm just going to say it makes me sad. How about you grow a fucking pair of balls and tell your community not to be conspiratorial? Maybe you should do that.
And then you say, I should go on and give some lawyer on YouTube the time of day to spend an hour or two on his channel to let him rant at me and connect all these dots and strings about how one commissioner did something or said something versus another commissioner. And that obviously is evidence that the entirety of the US government is engaged in a great conspiracy against the XRP community.
And again, for all of you that are unaware, the irony is in the fact that right here in... Hey, the video has stopped working. It is back. In this video right here, he is also ranting against the SEC and saying that right now, they're kind of giving Bitcoin a pass, but it doesn't make sense. But most importantly, that's soon enough. They'll just keep losing case after case after case while trying to expand their power, talking about the SEC. And at some point, everybody will forget about all the harm these guys tried to do. Mr. 𝗕𝗂𝘀 said, you believe that assisting in the trivialization and cover-up of Joseph Lubin's corruption is a constructive approach to bring clarity to Cardano, but the opposite is true. Joe Lubin is smirking in your face because you don't realize that you are paying for Lubin's price. Please do realize that he, as a co-founder of Cardano, is also a co-founder of Ethereum. Just wanted to let you guys know. The best part is that he is now upset that it would never be dealt with, but would just continue. Wasn't you the one arguing for that? You claimed 2 years that you shouldn't look back but forward, and that it doesn't matter what happened. And Charles went off. Again, no matter how times you tweet, or how many times you tweet, there is zero evidence that has ever been presented that Joe Lubin bribed the SEC to go after Ethereum. You are utterly incapable of differentiating between the free pass argument and allegations of consensus bribing the SEC to go after XRP. Still waiting on a single piece of evidence for the latter. If you cannot provide it, then yes, you are spreading conspiracies and slander. That's what this has been about for 2 years now. And somehow you guys still fight. I don't get the stupidity of it. He meant to say basically, I'm looking for the word here. He said Ethereum somewhere. Here we go. This was supposed to be XRP. Cameron said, hey, Charles, with all due respect, no one claims the SEC was bribed to go after XRP. You keep on pointing to an argument that you're making up. However, they were bribed to give ETH a free pass, which could lead them, on their own volition, to go after competitors. That is what we see. Charles then came back with some fire saying, my grand conspiracy statement has nothing to do with Joe Lubin from Consensus and Ethereum bribing to give Ethereum a free pass. So why does the XRP community continue to harass me if I said that? And Mr. Huber came in to say, you can say we claim the entire US government was bribed to go after XRP. Don't change the narrative again. And again, this discussion was so heated and it was so funny to me. He again responded by saying, and this was actually today, which is why I'm posting it only now, for the argument that Joe bribed the SEC to go after XRP, that is the conclusion. That is the entire point of calling it a grand conspiracy. The free pass has nothing to do with the case against Ripple. And that's where things do get interesting, in my opinion. They are unrelated events. 2 years now, and you haven't provided evidence to this connection. And now, as I've stated before, I'm a pretty big fan of Charles's work. I think he's very good at what he does, but in some ways, he's kind of like BitBoy. He talks a little bit more than he probably should. And XRP Productions also gave a little quote, I'm gonna call it. Excuse me, Charles, but I implore you to read this thread from John Deaton and consider why we think we don't need a signed receipt for a bribe from Joe Lubin or Consensus to the SEC, and I don't think you need one either, which is just a matter of if you really start looking into things, right? Then whatever guys like Huber are presenting, it's really the most logical way that things have happened or are going on in the background. But to find a receipt, like a quote unquote signed one by the one, committing these bad deeds is going to be extremely hard. And obviously, if there was evidence of bribery, we wouldn't be here talking. It's the allegation that these things are happening in the background that counts. But again, if you're wondering, this whole debacle is about why they went after XRP. Why was XRP the target? And why was Ethereum given a free pass? I will tell you also that a lot of discussions are going on in the background all the time. And the guys at Consensus and the guys at Ethereum, they're meeting with them very often. And that's where a lot of crazy links were in. But here, John Dean, just to read a little part, Clayton in his final act is picking winners and trying to limit US innovation in the crypto industry to Bitcoin and Ethereum, all the way back in 2020. Now, consider this. 2 months before that final act by Clayton, One River Asset Management made a $1 billion bet on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And once Clayton left the SEC, he almost immediately joined One River. Also considering that Clayton's law firm, Sullivan & Cromwell, who he was receiving money from, represented Consensus and Joseph Lubin, and brokered the deal where Consensus acquired JP Morgan's Quorum, which was pushing and utilizing the JPM coin. Lubin constantly claimed that he did not consider XRP or Ripple as competitors, even though the World Economic Forum did state here, crypto assets designed for intra or interbank payments and settlements. 2 examples are JPM coin and XRP. JP Morgan said, nah, it's not really a competitor, but the World Economic Forum does. And again, I don't want to, because this is such a long thread and I've gone over it before. You know what? Let's cover it. Make sure you press that like button. Let's talk about it. And if you've not done it yet, I'll leave a link down below to a free $500 XRP trade. So over on Bybit, I know a lot of you guys can't use the platform. Sorry for that. But for the people that can, this is a great opportunity. And a little side note I should give is that Bybit just turned 5 years old. And they've got themselves a 5-year Jubilee championship. And it's just another opportunity for people to make money. It's as simple as that, all right? You can do some cool stuff like answering a questionnaire to find your inner trader, like it says in this trading video. I meant trailer video. But honestly, the main highlight is, like I always say, prize pools you can win a watch. Oh, by the way, I guess if you take this test, the first 10,000 people get $10 for free. These type of things, always do them if you're low on money because they're free and they're real. The same thing that I talk about with these prize pools. Sometimes people that only have $100, they win $4,000 in prizes, things like that. But as far as I understand, you take the test, you know what type of trader you are, you pick it, and then you'll be able to get certain rewards with the first 10,000 people getting $10 for sure. But also you get different spins here. Anyway, just check it out, links down below. So with regards to what we were talking about a little bit earlier, right? John Deaton's situation. Hopefully you're still here. Consider that during his deposition, Hinman admitted that he was the one who reached out to Joe Lubin to discuss Ethereum. When asked by Ripple's lawyers about whether 𝗏𝗏𝗀 was the one who asked Hinman to reach out to Lubin in consensus, Hinman testified that he couldn't recall whether 𝗏𝗏𝗀 had suggested it. However, Hinman did testify that 𝗏𝗏𝗀 inquired about how the meetings were going with the Ethereum folk. 𝗏𝗏𝗀 asked Hinman more than once about those very meetings. Clearly, 𝗏𝗏𝗀 had a vested interest in those meetings. Do you have any idea how many meetings Hinman had as a director of corporation finance that 𝗏𝗏𝗀 didn't ask about? Now, also consider that 𝗏𝗏𝗀 agreed at his confirmation hearing and swore under oath that if one of Sullivan and Cromwell's clients were facing an enforcement action, 𝗏𝗏𝗀 would recuse himself and not vote against the enforcement action versus one of his firm's clients. Instead, however, he voted for an enforcement action versus his firm's client's biggest competitor, and people find that quite odd. Now you see why I said that Lubin hiring Sullivan and Cromwell partners, which again are 𝗏𝗏𝗀's partners, to become deputy general counsel of Consensus and co-director of the Brooklyn Project, and hired Sullivan and Cromwell to represent Consensus, was a savvy, brilliant legal move. At a minimum, Lubin preempted 𝗏𝗏𝗀 from voting if Consensus, he, or the Ethereum Foundation faced an enforcement action. This basically meant because 𝗏𝗏𝗀 did not want to go against his own kind, right? That's what the previous part here was about, this part. But recusing the chairman, because that was what Jay 𝗏𝗏𝗀 was at the time, is so much bigger than recusing one vote out of 5. Although that's huge, the chairman dictates policy and sets the agenda. For example, although it required 2 more votes to sue Ripple as chairman, if 𝗏𝗏𝗀 didn't want to file the case on his last day at the SEC, he wouldn't have. I won't go into the massive Hinman conflicts during his this post, but when you consider those conflicts, including the SEC ethics office informing Hinman he was violating the criminal financial conflict statute, in addition to 𝗏𝗏𝗀's, it proves that Brad Garlinghouse was 100% correct when he said 𝗏𝗏𝗀 and the SEC were picking the winners. Even if you hate Ripple and believe XRP was sold as an unregistered security, if you believe in free markets and fair level playing field, these gross appearances of impropriety should concern or anger you. Who gets a regulatory free pass and who gets sued can't be based on which law firm you hired to represent you. Here's a fact. If Brad Garlinghouse and 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 would have rushed to hire Sullivan and Cromwell just before, right, to represent Ripple once they learned 𝗏𝗏𝗀 was appointed as chairman, Ripple would not have been sued on 𝗏𝗏𝗀's watch. Now, they may have been sued a little bit later as Gary Gensler was appointed, but not before. And think of this. If Hinman doesn't give the Ethereum free pass speech, a speech where the only commissioner to have reviewed and okayed it was 𝗏𝗏𝗀 himself, would Gensler not only have sued Ripple and Brad Garlinghouse over XRP, but also went after Consensus and all the guys over Ethereum? That's a good question. Your guess is as good as mine, but I do know our markets deserve better. And that's what this grand discussion here is all about. They're trying to also find out how much of a role did Joe play in all of this and how much of it is a coincidence. Because I don't believe in too many coincidences. I don't. But some things can be, you know? Some things can. But most of it can't. It's just too damn convenient. There's just too much money going around in this game for it to be oh, that's funny. No. This was calculated. And regardless of what you think of Ripple or XRP, yeah, I don't think this is really deniable. I do not believe somebody can step in and say, no, this doesn't seem like the truth. Because it's just facts stacked upon each other that sound weird when you put them together, because they are. There's no way to go about it. You only have 2 options. That's a pretty interesting coincidence, or that's very fishy. And I stand with the latter, that it's too fishy. Take a look at this also right here. James Filan said, basically a response to 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, which is Ripple's legal counsel, about the SEC, whom said, don't be intimidated when they come knocking. As a Wall Street Journal article came out today, the Supreme Court has repeatedly ruled against the SEC in recent years. The SEC is anything but infallible. It is bloated, broken, and beleaguered. Don't be intimidated when they come knocking, because they're basically knocking everywhere, except for Ethereum, kind of, which is what part of the discussion is about. And they don't really stand for apologies. They don't really stand for explaining things. just for lawsuits, which is why you find it so crazy. And I mean, I think most people that reply to Charles are also on the board of saying ADA is not a security. We're just talking about why things went against XRP so hard and why Ethereum was skipped for the most part. That's the most important part. Anyway, I think over time this will all clear up. The market's looking good. A lot of capital wants to get injected into the space, and I'm excited for it. I will say again, if you're into trading, you might want to check this out because, again, if there's prizes to be won, I don't know why people don't look for these things because it's free money, and I just never understand why people sometimes don't care about free money like this. Also, if you haven't done it yet, make sure you join my Telegram group. A link is down below. It's like an alerts channel where I'm going to try post all the videos I post so you get a little notification. But also important updates like Michael Saylor just buying massive amounts of Bitcoin, or if there's crazy new gem launches, etc. I'll be posting it in there. And yeah, that's probably about it. Make sure you press that like button if you didn't, and let's go.